Welcome to another edition of Barbershop Therapy. I'm your host, Jimmy Evans, and I'm here today to talk about life, family, mental health, and better well-being for men of color, but men in general. I'm here today with a friend of mine, client, buddy, homeboy, all the above. We trying to change the world. Every day we sit in the barbershop and talk during our appointments. Mr. JJ Patterson. How you doing, young man?
I'm doing great.
I'm glad you're here, man. Look, JJ, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'd also like to plug NC State, yay boo.
Whatever.
He's a former NC State football player and just a great person all the way around. My friend JJ Patterson.
Thanks, Jim. Well, like you said, my name is JJ Patterson. I'm from a little small area called God's Country, but if you look on the map, it's going to be Lincoln, North Carolina. I came up here to come to college and play football at NC State, studied electrical engineering. And then once I got up here, my dad told me I couldn't come home and Charlotte was too close. So I just stayed up here and just tried to fight the good fight and see where it could take me.
Good deal, man. Listen, as you know, I've been cutting your hair, 25 years now?
It's been a minute.
25 years. And each time we sit in the barbershop, we have the most prolific conversations and trying to figure out, how to be better men,
Right.
how to be better fathers, how to be better husbands. And our wives gonna kill us because I use that as a third component. But we have other people that come through the barbershop that, we always have these great conversations. And you're one of the reasons why barbershop therapy exists, because all of the things that we talk about on a regular basis, I feel like was something that sharing that conversation one by one, we get very little done. But if we brought barbershop therapy to the masses through a podcast, and we talked about that, man, go ahead and do that podcast.
Right.
Stop being scared. And here it is now. We're doing a podcast. It's a monthly thing, and we're taking the time to give more people the benefit of the information we talk about. But before we dig into this, I wanted to plug Dram and Drought, our establishment that we've been shooting out of now for the past year, and they graciously allowed us to come in here. They're located at 701 West Main Street, Durham, North Carolina, 27715. And so feel free to come down here, get you a drink, great establishment, and we're greatly appreciative of their partnership. We share something that is difficult to talk about. We've both lost parents. And in doing so, it also shapes how we parent.
Right.
We're now co-parenting our parents.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I lost my mother in 2024. You recently lost your father.
Yeah. I lost May.
In May of this past year. If you don't mind, man, sharing how that loss is also a gain for you.
Oh, wow. A gain. That's hard because the first thing is with my father, after you lose your father, you come to some realizations that I didn't know before. So the main thing I think I realized is that it was been difficult. The most difficult part for me is that when I lost my father, I kind of lost my best friend too, because I talked to my mom and dad every day. I call them every day at 10 o'clock. So losing that aspect was strange, but I'm one of those people that I believe, death is a part of life. So I'm not upset with that or anything. I think the thing that I gained is, and it's kind of a story I told at my father's funeral, is that watching my father deteriorate. My father was a man who always was out doing something, working on cars, cutting down trees, doing yard work. My father could dream work up. I mean, that man could find work like no other.
Work that just didn't need to be done.
Yo, my father, he could find you some work to do. And I remember once he passed, I had a dream of a Bengal tiger, and seeing a Bengal tiger that was kind of stuck and couldn't move from the yard, just sat in the same place all the time. And if you know anything about a Bengal tiger, one, they're beautiful. But two, a Bengal tiger covers 50 miles a day just walking around its territory. So every day it walks. It is not meant to sit still. Even if you go to a zoo and watch a tiger, it goes around the cage all the time. And my father had lost that ability. It was not natural for him to be here. And having that understanding that sometimes losing things is gaining things. So by losing him, I lost my father. I can't talk to him every day. I will always miss that. But I have a relief knowing that my father now doesn't have to go through the depression that it was causing him not to be able to do what he's naturally meant to do.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you gain the understanding that life is not eternal, and he did what he was purposely here to do.
Right.
And again, it allowed you to not necessarily move forward, but to understand and appreciate.
Appreciate him, his role, and just the joy.
That's good, man. Listen, and just for you, and I'll share a little bit for me. What changed when my mother left here was, like you said, we miss talking to him every day. Yeah. We miss the small things that you take for granted some days.
Right.
But what changed was understanding life is not eternal. Life is valuable, and you have to take every day with it and see the value in it. And again, what changed for me was just knowing, like you said, seeing your parents deteriorate and giving yourself the ability to release them and not be selfish about it. That's what changed for me. It was no longer for me, right. But I know she was tired. I knew she was ready to go.
Yes.
And so that gave me some comfort knowing that, she was resting a little versus all the things that she was unable to do. So what about you for yourself?
So for me, it gives me, because me and you, we love to talk about the supernatural and the things that you never know about. But for me, it also gives me more questioning and more hope, because my father, after his death, and I'm starting to think about it, and I look back over the past year, my father's been dropping like little hints or little jewels of like, JJ, you're gonna have to take care of your mother when I'm gone. JJ, he might not sit in the same place that he would always sit. And I would sit there and I was like, something's off. And then just to see that, how all that built up. And then when he passed, it's like, I have hope that internally, that there's something out there even more than that, God gives us his wisdom that, that we have going forward. And just, I think that's the one thing I know that I have hope for life. And then there's also my, just him seeing how he set up things. My father was not a rich man, and my father, his always thing was like, boy, I ain't got when I go, only thing I'm gonna leave you here with enough money to put me in the ground. But he left me with money to put him in the ground, and he did what he could, to have extra and to see that planning, and our life, the small plans that we make on earth, how it can, the benefits of it when we're gone. And I think that focus and that determination also, I also gained that.
Man, it sounds like he was giving you nuggets all along the way and preparing you for your family,
Yeah.
right? And you know, when we think about our parents, we often think about the tough lessons.
Yeah. Tell a lot of
You
those.
know, to the point of what you were saying about your dad could find work for you to do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure every Saturday it was something for us to do.
Man.
If we weren't cutting grass, helping with the car, doing something, changing oil, something. But it gave us a work ethic. And when
Yes.
we talk about old school parenting versus new school parenting, you know, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And when I look at how our parents raised us and the expectations, and then some of the leniency that we give our kids, you know, our kids, they don't have to come up with going out and doing real chores. You know, there's not farm work for them to do. There's not, you know, all of the daily tasks that kept a household going because of all of everything that electronics and technology and all the things that we have. It moves that, right? That moves that bar. Raising two girls with all this technology, how do you find yourself referring back to some of the old school stuff, but then what doesn't apply, figuring it out for yourself?
Well, you know, many conversations we had. My dad was a hard man, and my dad was raised by a man that was much harder than him. You know, he believed in there's playing with the uniform you're given, so you don't. And tying on to that, there's no excuse for an excuse. And what I see is with this generation, I get on my daughters all the time, is that they have these electronics, but they'll quickly tell me that I don't know where this is, or I don't know how to get that. And all this electronics out there, but they're not using it, the basics to get what they need.
They're not using it as a tool.
It's not using it as a tool. It's more of entertainment. And you know, I didn't have a lot of entertainment. Like I said,
Get your ass outside and go play.
go outside and go play. You know, you go. You know, my daughters, and I will be honest with the fact that I don't know if I had sons, if I would have been as lenient.
Oh, that's why God gave you daughters,
my sons,
Jack.
as I. Because I would have, I mean, I know
You'd have been your daddy.
I would have been my daddy all over.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have gone through every woods possible to find a tree to cut down or something.
Listen, we got 5 acres over here for you to find a tree to go cut down.
I would have, you know, I would have hustled a lot more because I would have had a lawnmower service and I've been cutting lawns and we'd be going. But I think that's the thing that I learned is my father was, some of the things that he did where he was very hard and very, like from the one of the things that my father really did tell me that I can't come home and Charlotte's too close. But then when he had grandbabies, he's like, boy, why you live so far away from the house? So
wait a minute, sir. You told me to get on, didn't you?
Hey man, you know, so there is leniency where I have to, you know, I look at my uncle who's equally as hard, or grew up equally as hard as my dad, but I saw how the great thing I saw from him is how it was, you have to, with girls, you have to there's a balancing act that you have to do with a girl that's a lot different than with boys. So some of the lessons I would love to say that I learned and I wouldn't have done that my dad did, but I can't be 100% sure because I didn't have boys.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. When you think about some of the personal stories, educational challenges, right? And we talk often about how our kids are not represented in school properly.
Right.
Kids are getting pushed through, not knowing how to read, but technology and the lack of diversity in how things are taught in schools are a challenge in our community, right? I'll say for me, and I'll revert back to when I was a kid, I'm dyslexic.
Right.
But I didn't find that out until I was 19 years old, my freshman year in college. And when I went back and told my mom, and the story was I had a English professor that, you know, my grades were horrible. I came out of school with a 1.9 in high school, and all my teachers just told me I was lazy. I can remember from 8th grade, 6th grade up until 12th grade, everybody just said I was lazy. Although I was at home studying to 3 o'clock in the morning just to get a C. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when I finished high school and went to college, thought I was going to play basketball. That didn't work out. But one English teacher took an interest in me. It was like, hey, your writing is difficult to read. And I said, oh, okay. She said, come after class, I need you to come see me. And so as we went back to her class after, she said, just take this paragraph and I want you to write it. Just don't think about mistakes, whatever. Just write the paragraph out as fast as you can. And I want to go through it with you. So she went through it. She said, you inverted words, you missed, you left words out, you inverted numbers, punctuation's horrible. You possibly have an extreme case of dyslexia. I said, is it contagious? She's just like, no, dyslexia is your brain functions a different way. It operates so fast that you jumble stuff up. So I went back home, and when I found that out, I got depressed. And I went back home, I quit school. And when I got back home, I told my mom, I was like, you know what dyslexia is? And she was like, nah, I don't have a clue. So she looked it up. And I said, my instructor seems to think I have dyslexia. And for 3 days after finding that out, my mom cried for almost 3 or 4 days continuously. Because she didn't know what she didn't know. She did the best that she could.
Right.
Right? And that's when, as parents, when we know better or are exposed to something, then we do stuff differently. That's why with my kids, I know I have dyslexia. So a lot of times parents that are smart will be embarrassed because their kids have a learning disability.
Right.
There's no way my child has got a problem and will, really try to bury their feelings or emerge their feelings over their children's needs. And so I know we talked about your daughter and with devices and then even going into school systems. Can you share a little bit more about how those experiences kind of mold from when your parents came and you can't come back.
Right.
Charlotte's too close, Raleigh's far enough.
Yeah.
To how you govern that with your daughters.
So it's
a loaded question.
It's a loaded question. So we'll start off with kind of tying on to your dyslexia. So for me, my oldest daughter, she went to college. She graduated high school, and she went to Wake Tech. She wanted to be graphics designer. But when she got there, we found out that all her classes were online. She had no in-person classes.
Wow.
And so she was trying, and I would see her trying, and she was really struggling. And so she came to me one day, and she was like, "Daddy, I think I have ADHD." And she just got that because she saw, I forget, a celebrity had mentioned that she thinks she had ADHD, and my daughter started going through the list of things that she had, and she realized, we were like, yeah. So we went and immediately got her help, and got her diagnosed officially, to show that she that she had ADHD. One of the things is, I will say, kind of a bad parenting moment, or I don't know, good parenting moment. My daughter's very creative. She likes to write. She likes to draw. She's artistic. So I've known that she had what they would call the daydreaming. AD was more ADD because she doesn't have the hyper part. And I've known she's had that, since she was a small child. She's always did that. But the thing is, she had coping mechanisms, and she could manage it. And then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, and you go into a virtual class, and it throws her off her routine, she was never able to come back and get back into it. So she wasn't able to, come back from that. And so then you go in there, and she's doing very bad because, once again, I just told you, all virtual. So that right there does not fit well in the ADD. And so we go in there and we do the, she goes, so since then, we got her tested, and we found out that stimulant, doing a stimulant ADD medicine, because I did not want her to lose her creativity, which is one of the things, if you had a non-stimulant, it kind of keeps them dull. And I wanted her to be able to be creative. So she's gone from that to now, I think she had a 4.0 last semester in her classes. She just passed her pharmacy tech, switched over to pharmacy tech. So she just passed her pharmacy tech certification. So really proud of her for doing that.
It's a real proud moment.
Yeah, real proud. I mean, she put in the work to bring her grades up to do that. So there's a part where the technology is, going all virtual does not work for everybody. Accepting the fact that, hey, my daughter has a problem, and not trying to hide behind that and just attack this. I also will have to say I have my sister-in-law. She, Dr. Barksdale.
Doctor, say it out loud.
Dr. Barksdale. She was a great help, and she's been on me for a long time, but she was a great resource to use. So I use the people around me. I use my resources to be beneficial for my daughter in this situation.
Okay. JJ, I just want to make a point. Parents, listen to your children when they're asking for help. When we are talking about school instances, disabilities, it is not a reflection on us as parents who we are. More importantly, it's about getting our children the assistance that they need without holding them at fault for needing it. Thank you for bringing that out, man, because I think so many times parents are ashamed that they might have all these degrees, but my child might need some assistance, or I'm not capable of doing it myself. That's why we have these tools out here to get the assistance, to have these agencies, to have a proper diagnosis to allow your child to move forward and be positive and have a much more successful life. And it sounds like, man, your oldest girl is moving in the right direction, and I commend you for all the hard work that you're putting in. So now we're gonna jump back into old school daddy, and since you have girls and it did soften you in that moment, how do you feel like that also gave you the ability to see her needs?
Well, honestly, I do think a lot of it goes back to, I call her Chunkhead, I'm sorry. But
Go ahead.
My sister-in-law, and I had practice ahead of time with her, because she moved in with me when she was in the 10th grade. And seeing what she needed and how that was, and that kind of helped me out a lot, because one thing goes back to the hard parenting that I had. My dad always said, kids want discipline. Some kid, and I have friends that were very hardcore that moved in and stayed with me at different times, and just seeing that they wanted discipline and just the order that you're going in life. That right there is, so seeing her come in and helping her do what she needed to do to get straight. Because like I said, I tell the story all the time. She came in with me. I have no idea how she was passing. I looked at her grades. She was getting ready. They had promoted her to the 11th grade. But I looked at her transcript, and she had 1 C and maybe 1 B. And they were just gonna, they were pushing her through the system. And so getting her and working with her to get where she went to community college and, she graduated, put in the work with her in school. Then she graduated and she goes in, she has to go to community college. And then she makes a step to college and then she goes to master's and so on. But I think that experience helped me more with my oldest daughter and seeing what she needed and the guidance that she gave, because she is a social worker. And so just listening to the stories she gives me from her social working things, that had made me more sensitive and more aware of things as well. So a lot of it is understanding that being a parent, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Everybody wants their kid to get out there and achieve quick, but it's not going to happen with all your kids. And in this marathon, there's going to be some hills.
So with those heels, when you think about teaching your child how to operate through disappointment, how to look at a hard situation and be resilient, as people of color, that word resilience has always been, implanted in our head. You got to be resilient. You got to be strong. But disappointment is disappointment.
Yes.
And as adults, we often don't handle disappointment well. So how have you as a father of two girls, which emotionally sometimes to see your daughter's disappointed, you want to go into, let me see how I can make it better, versus showing them how to.
So I think it's interesting. I just had a discussion with my daughter the other day when we were talking about, I did not know she was that she was testing for her certification. I didn't know until after she got her certification that she had passed. And it's because in talking to her, she goes back to her first going to get her permit and how she did not pass the first time she went get her permit.
This is a driver permit?
Her driver permit. And that how much it upset her, that how hard it was on her, because she saw the disappointment. She felt like I was disappointed in her, and it's not her disappointment. And the thing is that I go with my daughters all the time, and I tell them that I don't have I can't have their dreams for them. I can't want more from them than they want for themselves. My whole job as a parent is simply give you options. Now, which option you take, that's kind of on you. So when you go through this, we haven't reached to the point where I can say that I've been disappointed, because I tell them right now, and this is what I'm always preaching to them, you're young. Shoot for the star. Whatever it is you might want out there, now's the time to go for it, because I'm here. So no matter what you do, if you go out there and you fail, I can catch you.
You got a soft place to land.
You got a soft place to land. So there's no such thing at this point is you're not being, don't look at it as disappointment. Look at it as life lessons learned. And it's better to go out there now and go face these disappointments and these failures, because we need to fail. Because if we do nothing but succeed, we won't appreciate it.
And you don't know what success really is.
Yes.
Because you have nothing to measure it against.
Right.
I look at, and thank you for adding that to it, man. And I look at kids today, they can't take criticism. They fold when there's a criticism, and it's always the opposing view of, I got to give you my side though, so you'll see how I'm. Sometimes kids hear your parents' information before you decide to get defensive.
Yeah.
I look at my kids, and I know it's a work as a parent, because our parents talked at us. This is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to happen. And I don't want to hear what you have to think about it, because what you think is irrelevant.
Right.
That may not have been their intent, but that's the way it came off to us, right? And so one of the things of don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, I want to make sure I give my kids a conversation versus a lecture.
Right.
And in doing so, I got to learn a new skill set, because I get a little frustrated when they challenge that moment, so, I'm trying to give that healthy behavior that they can model.
Right.
Okay, I might take a deep breath in the middle of it and be like, man, I want to tear your plus up right now, but I need you to understand how to operate when you're frustrated, because I'm clearly having a moment in these conversations sometimes, but I want them to be able to look at it and say, well, my dad took the time to talk me through this versus he decided to beat me into submission. You sent me a video about a week ago of a kid getting a haircut, and the dad jumped up and just slapped him
smacked him
upside the head.
Yes.
Slid him all the way down in the chair. And the comments in the video were like, man, I miss old school parenting. And yeah, I would have did the same thing. And I'm trying to understand the logic behind people's thinking to see kids get beat by their parents. Now, don't get me wrong. When you willfully show me that you're going to disobey, and I'm giving you multiple opportunities to conform, hear what I'm saying, understand the process, and work within the context of what the situation is, but then you just like, whatever. Yeah, you might get it then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I want to exhaust that with our kids and teach them on a different plane and a different level of healthy communication, healthy behaviors that don't lead to you getting beat down because I'm so frustrated as a parent that I don't know how to communicate through my stress and my frustration. How do you see, can you share some personal stories coming up as a kid where you wish that might have been the case?
So the best case I got for you is the reason why I go by the name JJ is
it ain't good times?
No, it has nothing to do with good times. So when I was in kindergarten, first grade, teacher gave me a note to take home to my parents, and I didn't know what it was. I just took it home, gave it to my parents, and the note says that Willie has not been doing his work. So I got old school parents. I got beat first, ask questions later. Mm-hmm. So we get to school, my parents come to the parent teacher meeting, and they come into the school, and my teacher is running down the hall, and she's just beat red with embarrassment because another teacher told her, no, not Willie Patterson, Willie Bynum. So I got that beating from my friend Willie Bynum, and after that I was like, you know what? The only other person in this classroom's name is with the name JJ is a white guy, and if I get a whooping from him, I deserve that.
Okay.
They get us confused. So there's the moment, and then it goes forward. How it repeats itself is my daughter bought, back in the elementary school days, mm-hmm. They give you your daughter's own green or red or purple or whatever it is. And so the teacher came home, sent a thing home. My daughter was constantly on red. And I was like, what in the world? So I gave her a spanking, like, you need to behave better because, you just came to do this. So then the parent-teacher meeting happened, and it was just a normal open house. So mm-hmm. It wasn't a special parent-teacher meeting thing. But I met the teacher, and I realized that what had happened was my daughter had a teacher that had gone from teaching third grade, and this was her first year teaching like kindergarten. And she was expecting kindergartners to add like a third grader. And I feel like in my life, that is one of my biggest parenting mistakes ever. The biggest parent failure is that I just took that and didn't realize, investigate with my child.
Didn't ask any more questions. And that right there is kind of a big parenting fail for me. Is it necessarily giving yourself grace as a parent? Because this is the first time you did this too, right?
Right. They didn't give me a book for this.
They didn't give you a book for this.
No.
They didn't tell you, JJ, in kindergarten, you about to mess up. You didn't get that, right?
Right.
So give yourself some grace. And it's you said it earlier, it's not a race, it's a journey. It's an entire figuring out what we don't know that we need to know and why we need to know it for our kids' sake. Parenting from a positive emotional mindset, even through all the stuff that we wake up in the morning as parents some days, and I'm quite sure you saw your parents go through it as well, and just heavy days.
Yeah.
Something like that could cause a heavy day for you, right? That next day, I'm sure you were like hard on yourself. Damn, all I had to do was, I should have. Did you apologize to your daughter?
I have apologized to my daughter, and I've told her about that situation. And a lot of times she might not necessarily remember. Because I'll be honest, where I got throughout life, I think the last time I got what you would call a whooping, a beating from the dad was I was 13.
Yeah, that's
14
about the
years old.
last time.
Yeah, that's about the last time. But that was probably I earned, because that's when you start smelling yourself and you want to try your dad. You think you can try your daddy. I learned that was a bad mistake. But other than that, I never really whipped my kids hard. Most they got that. That was a 3-lick thing, and I think that was probably the last time she got a spanking. Because at that point, I don't see why a parent, I didn't have to spank them anymore, because the idea was bigger. It's like, I remember this. It's like it's a bad thing, and it was.
But she didn't even remember it.
She doesn't.
At the end of the day, I'll give an instance, man. We were in a barbershop, probably 2005 when I first opened up one of my barbershops, and we were having this same conversation about spankings versus not spanking, and a guy just walked in on a conversation out off the street, and it was about 3 of us in there, and I was like, yeah, I'll spank my kid if I feel it's warranted, blah 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 blah. And he said, man, I've never spanked my daughters, never in my life. I communicate well enough with my kids that they know that the disappointment in my voice corrects their actions to the point. And for whatever reason, that thing infuriated the hell out of me. Nobody asked you nothing anyway. You ain't even getting a haircut. I mean, but it went against what I was raised, what we were raised in. And I think Darrell was 3 or 4 by then. And I had never spanked him. I said, but if he, I'm almost gloating that if my kid needed, I'm gonna be the one to tear his hind parts up, because Bill Cosby, I brought you into this world, I can take you out. And as we laugh about it and we joke about those things, how traumatizing is that to a kid to hear that I'm willing to take you out of this world because to discipline you? Yeah. That's crazy right there. We have to, for me, I'm learning as a dad, as a husband, to think through my decisions before, right? And to allow some benefit of the doubt. Like our kids, like in that video, to me, the dad watching his son cry in the chair shouldn't provoke a response to beat my kid into submission versus, hey man, let me find out what's wrong. Take a second, gather yourself, and as a barber, same thing. Let me get a little better relationship with this little dude, so when he come in to the barbershop next time, he gonna dap me up and know it's gonna be a good experience. Not somebody holding him down. He's prone to have to duck like George Bush or Mike Tyson and sweep a punch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what would you say to parents trying to get the benefit of the doubt, give the benefit of the doubt to yourself and to your children?
So first off, I think the key thing is that, one, although you didn't like the way he just came in and jumped in your conversation, for me as a father of girls, I have to say he's 100% correct. Like, I learned that my daughters reacted more, me just raising my voice at them, and the disappointment in there, that would just tear them down. And like sometimes I didn't even realize I was doing it. But the other thing that my father and my mother did is, and I'd say this to a parent, you got to know your child. Because while I might not have got beatings all the time, it was because they learned that what hurt me more than anything was the inability to go outside. So my parents were like, yo, you're gonna be sitting in this house and you can't go outside for a week.
Hold on, wait a minute. Can JJ come out? You sitting in the window like this?
Oh, no. But it's even worse. It's even worse because I had the basketball goal, I had the football and everything. So my mom and dad would say, no, JJ's grounded. And when they said, but we want to shoot basketball, they said, nah, here the basketball. Go on out there and shoot. Here's the football. Go out there. Yeah. So they would be out there. My friends would be out there having the ball, and I'm sitting there in the window looking at.
Hey, JJ.
So it is. That's the one thing I think you have to do. You have to, every child is different. So the way I deal with one child, I had to do different with another. So as a parent, give yourself grace, but first of all, look at what your child is and understand that the other thing that I learned from my parents is that there wasn't always all negative. So when I was struggling in school, my parents switched me over to rewards. So if I'm struggling in school, so they want me to benefit. So my dad said, okay, man, you get me these grades, I get your bike. You got to carry this through. And because he also learned I'm very competitive. Mm-hmm. So by doing that, it helped me along the way. So I had to learn what was the button that I could push with my kids.
So would you consider that breaking generational bad habits? Or not bad habits, but different parenting styles? Because your parents figured out, I don't have to beat you into submission, but what I do have is incentivize you. And how did you apply that?
Well, one, there's that too, because like I said, my father was a hard man, but he was nowhere close to being what my grandfather was that was raising 3 boys. There were 3 back to back, but there were more boys coming up behind them. My grandfather, he did some things right now that CPP. The Child Protective Service would have took my kids, taking them away from him. But I'm the only child, and I'm my mama's only baby. So some of the stuff my dad he might have wanted to do.
You got a little protection on
he might have wanted to do, but there was there was a line that he couldn't do. Also. So
thank you, Mama.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate that. But so what I learned from that and how it relates. My father had a temper that can go from 0 to 10. Like when my father was hot, he was hot. So what I've done in some points, I learned from them, is that I might not always be the disciplinarian. Sometimes I'll let my mom. My dad will let my mom do it. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I would say, yo, I can't do this today. Let my wife, Desiree, do it. So that's another way that we deviate.
And having the wherewithal to know yourself. And it might trigger you to do something more drastic than that's necessary.
Right.
Okay. So, man, we could do this all day long, right? But I really want to also go into what barbershop therapy over these years has meant to you as not just a client, but a friend, someone that we can bounce back and forth off each other when we're going through stuff, like building that community. What is that? How has that served you over the years?
Well, I think one of the things I see in barbershop therapy is we talk about often that a lot of, let's be honest, black males, they're not going to go talk to anyone else. So you a lot of times might be their therapist. And so, or being the one that they're able to get that off the chest. And sharing, the thing I think of is like, I'm from western part of the state, you from the eastern, central, whatever you want to say. But seeing somebody that we're going through and we got similar stories, or, my father always say nothing changed but the name and the places. And just to seeing that even in the different places that we're all going through the same thing. And just having the ability to talk to you about situations about my daughter and being able to, if I'm having something that, I'm really thinking about, like when my father was going through that, or when I have another barber friend, when he was going, when he's going through his issues and, coming in and being able to talk to someone about that things and that I would never normally not talk to people about, it does a lot of good. And I tell my cousins back home who have barbershops, I'm like, listen, you really need to look at doing this because it helps men. I mean, this is not just me. It's just like I see the benefit that you do for the whole community. A community of men, not black men, community of men getting together. And so I think that's the great thing. I think that you sometimes don't realize just how beneficial you are to us. And so, I mean, you're like, you're the barber, you're like the bartender without the drinks, So we
Dram and drop. All right.
So yeah, it's been very beneficial talking to you.
I mean, that means a lot coming from you. One thing I like to quickly say to our audience, with barbershop therapy, this is a culmination of 30 years of conversations like this going on. And it does just happen at Headquarters Barbershop in Raleigh, North Carolina, to 5720 Capitol Boulevard, Raleigh. Plug. But it happens at every barbershop. And I would employ, if you're a barber and you're seeing this podcast, understand the power, the platform, and the impact you can have by tapping into what barbershop therapy is. It just doesn't belong to one barbershop. This is something that we all can do. This has been a powerful conversation with my friend, JJ Good Knees Patterson.
I wish.
JJ, man, is there anything that you would like to share with other men out there, husbands, fathers, young men that are out here dating, wanting to be a family man one day, that you can broaden their horizons right now? Please do so.
I think the biggest thing I would say is closed mouths don't get fed. Don't be afraid to ask for help. No matter how bad it looks, you're never in this truth. You're never alone. You always go out there and get help. Even when I was going through, and I tell you my story, and don't know how I'm gonna achieve. I'm out there. I had friends, or I had barbershop, or just people, older people. If you're a young man, look, and you don't have anyone, look for a mentor. Mentorships is very important, and be involved and try to help others, because you'll be amazed at how helping others can help you.
I appreciate your time.
Thanks, sir.
Don't work on them knees.
Amen.
Till next time either. Listen, this has been another great edition of Barbershop Therapy. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe, post, ask us questions, comments. We love to hear what you have to say. But as we say earlier, we cut through the problems, and y'all have a wonderful day.